Welcome to the Industry Angel Podcast. We hear from the best business minds across the globe, entrepreneurs, social influencers, marketing mavens, and sales rock stars. We've got them all. Here comes your weekly dose of inspiration with your host, Ian Farah.
Our next guest is the founder of ExcludedUK, a grassroots non-profit organisation committed to providing personal, business and career support to those facing hardship as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. There's lots of stuff here, but I'm just going to bring her in because I know she's on a tight deadline. So Anneka Hicks, lovely of you to join me. Hi there.
Hi Ian, nice to meet you. Thanks.
You're welcome and thanks for coming. Anneka, school run 2:55 I've heard.
It is. I've got to cut it fine, I'm afraid.
Who's this for?
My little boy, he's a 7-year-old. He's just started a new school. He's loving every minute. So he was quite pleased when I said I might be a little bit late this morning.
What's your little boy called?
William.
William, lovely. Nice, strong name. Anneka, so pleased you can join us because we are going to continue where Tony Robinson left us off last week. Anneka, my friend, we were on fire. The comments have been going wild. I now have a copy of The Happypreneur. And he just said, look, you need Anneka on, man. You need to bring Anneka in. So I'm dead excited, right? I am literally going to shut up and leave this over to you because you have been so busy. ExcludedUK has been so busy. You've created a storm. I've been loving watching the comments, watching the Twitter feeds. Everybody is so excited. Everybody is so supportive and thankful for what you guys are doing. So could I literally just hand over to you, and would you, for the people who aren't aware of ExcludedUK, give us a bit of a heads up?
Sure. So as we all know, after the announcements that the Chancellor made on the 23rd of March, where there is this unprecedented range of support schemes for as many people as he could possibly help, he ensured that no one would be left behind, and that filled everybody with a job or a business with confidence and hope, which was all very quickly sort of dashed to the rocks, really. If you changed jobs at the wrong time, or you started your business within the last few years, or you've taken a pension payment to help you or reinvest back into your business, maybe you had 2 jobs, one of which was self-employed, one of which was PAYE, maybe you're on 0 hours contracts, maybe you took some paternity leave, so you had a baby at the wrong time. You know, all of these things happen to be excluded from all of those fantastic support schemes that the Chancellor offered. So very quickly, I mean, personally, at that stage, I lost about 95% of my income overnight. I ran a small marketing agency in the IT and telecom sector. That was very heavily affected early on, and my contracts were frozen. At that stage, I employed a couple of people. I worked with a number of self-employed contractors who helped us in the agency. And I also had 2 members of staff starting with me on the 2nd of April. I was really thankful that the Chancellor allowed me to furlough my staff. I topped them up to 100% and thought, we've got a couple of months, we put it all into hibernation, we'll be fine. Quickly realised that left me with nothing. Personally, I wasn't entitled to the grants, being a business that worked from home predominantly. So nothing there. Being a director of a limited company, I was unable to claim any self-employment income support scheme, and I was able to furlough myself, but only if I refrained from doing any work on the business myself. So, you know, that little 5% of business that I still had to manage, gone, couldn't have done it. So then the employees that I was due to take on, I had to obviously retract their contracts. I wasn't able to put them on furlough. Spent the next 3 or 4 weeks with this horrendous guilt and sense of failure. Had all the confidence knocked out of me, I think, just thought, if I was more financially secure, and we were, a very successful business, I had enough in the bank. I knew that, 6 months or so in the bank to take us through. I had money saved up for tax and VAT and all of the other overheads. And I kind of thought, we can do a couple of months. But it quickly became clear that the gaps in the support schemes were so huge and were affecting so many people that I just felt like we needed to do something to help them. So we formed ExcludedUK in middle of March with a few people I've never met. We met on a Facebook group. We quickly grew our community to, I think it's about 50,000 now across all of our social platforms and across our website membership as well. And our aim really was to bring together all of those different communities of people. We wanted to talk to the people here. Each of those groups kind of had their own campaign groups. They had their specific asks. They were going out there and lobbying every day, and that was fantastic. And we supported all of them. But it was really a case of, there's an opportunity here to bring together the people that were affected by all of these various random circumstances. You've got people from all walks of life, all age ranges, all industries, and surely that if we were to be able to bring those together, we'd be able to help them help each other potentially get through this challenging time. With the self-employed people maybe wanting to incorporate, maybe there was opportunities for small businesses to pool their resources and be able to get through this. The employees that had so tragically lost their jobs between that time, maybe we could encourage them to start their own businesses and again sort of pull together and start new things and create things with each other. And that's what's been really powerful. My faith in humanity has really been restored in the last few months, to be able to provide a platform for these people, a website, we've got a forum, we've got the social media platforms. We've been encouraging people to put on events for the rest of the community, so people are learning from each other and learning new skills and helping each other with, accountancy questions and debt problems and just business development and skills and retraining. And it's just been fantastic. That really is a really positive thing to have come out of such a horrendous situation.
So as you've spoke there, I've gone from happy to sad to angry to sad to happy, and you smiled all the way through it. You obviously do feel like you've made a difference with ExcludedUK. So, and I didn't know what you were going to say, so that's why I was angry. But you were smiling all the way through, which is cool. So it sounds like you've really created a great support network there. You talk about collaborations, potential collaborations, and support each other and that kind of stuff. But you also touched upon lobbying, and I think you said there was various sort of campaign groups out there. When you first started this, might have been splinter groups or maybe regional groups or industry-specific groups. Can we look at the lobbying side? Because the support's all great, and I love that, and it's very, very important, but we need to, I'm trying to stay calm. We need to try to influence and make a change. So what can we do from a lobbying point of view?
Well, it's been a really interesting journey, to say the least. The last few months of putting all of this together. We set up very early on as a non-profit organisation with the intention of being there long term for a long time. We knew that, these changes in the government were probably, less likely to happen as time went on, although we tried everything. We do have a kind of political arm to the organisation now, I suppose. Sonali, one of the other founders, has been just fantastic in her commitment to communicating as well as we possibly can with as many influential MPs as we possibly can. The community has been fantastic in getting behind the initiatives. We managed to bring together a number of really supportive MPs into what's become the largest APPG, so all party parliamentary group, actually in history. I think there's 270 or so MPs that have taken part in all of that now. So that's been really positive. The awareness that that's brought from bringing all of those different MPs together and running a series of lobby week meetings that we've been doing over the last month or so. So we started throughout June and July, through the summer period, by inviting some of these MPs to do live Q&As with our community, which were really powerful. I think we had 30 or so MPs take part, which is great. You know, it allowed us to bring together all of those examples of case studies within those MPs' constituencies and really shine a light on the breadth of the problem here. And it was really well received. And it was a result of those live Q&As that the APPG was formed, and that built momentum. Martin Lewis got on the back of the campaign right from the early days. So although we never set out to be a campaign group at all, you know, as I say, there were some very, very, and still are, some fantastic campaign groups out there fighting for specific elements and specific asks. Forgotten Limited for limited company directors, New Starter Justice for new starters. You've got We Make Events, you've got the maternity petition. You know, they're all very specific in their areas. Annual PAYE, you know, again, that's a kind of, you know, that's a Forgotten Limited company director in an even smaller and unjust section of just that. So there's, you know, even the campaign groups have their subsections. It's just a horrendous injustice. And I think as time has gone on, what it's done to people, you know, in terms of their mental health, in terms of their lives and their futures, is unforgivable, really. And I think last Thursday, when the Chancellor came out with his announcements, I think there was kind of some trepidation and, you know, well, is this going to be for us, or is this going to just, you know, hit the same issues as it had before? And I don't want to say that we got over hopeful, because we certainly didn't expect anything and we were right not to. But the more you think about it, the more you just think, the government, the Treasury, they know who we are. A report was written in June, July time by the Treasury Select Committee that addressed all of those gaps in support. And Mel Stride himself, you know, recommended that the Chancellor righted those wrongs. He's had every opportunity. He's now got more than a third of Parliament behind righting those wrongs. And yet he still does nothing. And I find that pretty disgusting, actually. But certainly not going to give up. We've got a day of action planned tomorrow.
Okay.
Difficult in these circumstances, very limited, very COVID secure, but we are taking, or we're meeting up with 100 of our community tomorrow, and we're doing a march along with BEC2 and Equity and We Make Events to raise awareness for the wider community. BEC2 and We Make Events and Equity are all the theatre and the creative industry sector who have been so horrendously affected through this. And then we're going to meet press and MPs on Parliament Square tomorrow ahead of Prime Minister's questions too. So still very heavily involved in the lobbying side.
How does that march look, Anneka? Because what we don't want is obviously any negative press around people coming together and not distancing and that sort of thing, and taking us away from what the campaign's all about. So what have you done to eradicate that?
Well, it's been really difficult to make the decision to do it in the first place, if I'm completely honest with you. You know, the last few weeks have very much been, should we, shouldn't we?
Yes.
The community, again, is very split. You know, we've got certain members really actively, very passionately saying that we should all get together. And we've got other members who are completely against it. And, you know, I appreciate both sides.
Yeah.
What tomorrow is about is not about, you know, a protest. It's not about the big march. It's about the opportunity to communicate and speak to MPs and press and explain to them, you know, the reality of the situation. The events side are doing a panto parade. So each of the groups, and this is very, very strict on COVID. You know, everybody that is coming tomorrow is registered in advance. Registration is now closed. The location of which is being kept secret, so nobody can just turn up. We've done all the track and trace stuff, and we've, you know, made sure that everybody is in groups of 5, not 6, socially distanced. It's all very, very strictly put together. The police are aware, everything. So we've done as much as we can to be as responsible as we can in the situation that we're faced with. But we do see it as a really good opportunity for press and MPs to come and speak to the members.
In terms of the MPs, I think you mentioned the APPG. My local MP, Emma Llewellyn, she's part of it. She's very supportive of it. You mentioned that a third, Anneka. So why only a third?
A third of MPs have got behind the need for these schemes to be righted. So I'm going to say that is the biggest APPG ever recorded in history. Yeah. We would have loved to have got more, of course, but I think we were very surprised we've even got more than 50. So to have got a third of Parliament, we're very happy.
I'm not taking that away from you because it is. But when I say only a third, why not everybody? Why what makes them? What makes someone not support this? I don't get it, because it's just obvious, isn't it? I mean, yes, it's obvious to and the Chancellor, but I get the Chancellor has pressures and lots to think about, and there's all kind of, you know. But just lobbying doesn't mean that you are going to set something in stone. It just means, can we have a look at this, please?
Yeah.
Why can't we have a look at it?
I know. We've asked on numerous occasions for the Chancellor to meet with us directly. Okay. We'd love to be involved, you know, in how we can help our community, help the economy get back on track. That's all we want to do. You know, entrepreneurship is the backbone of the economy, and it's just bizarre that as many as 3 million people, probably more, have just been cast aside like this. Why? It's very difficult, actually, from a public perception point of view, to get this across unless you've been affected directly. And I think that's our issue. You know, with the figures that we've put together, we've established that 1 in 10 working taxpayers have been affected by this in some way. Not all of them even want to come forward to support, you know, the fact that they've missed out. And I'm kind of baffled by that as well. You know, I've sat and talked to friends whose businesses have been affected by this, and I've said, you're excluded, you know, come and join. And they said, well, you know, we didn't get anything. What can we do about it? You know? So yeah, it's been really difficult. And also the schemes that have been put into place have been so well documented and supported by the press as well, that, you know, this kind of rhetoric that they continue spouting out, you know, that the schemes are unprecedented and that 95% of people can access them, and that, you know, even if they can't access them, there's still universal credit, and there's universal credit has been made better to accommodate more people. Our survey says that 64% of the people that we interviewed can't access UC either. You know, if you've got savings in the bank because they've, like me, I had 30 grand put aside in March that I'd spent 15 years putting together to put down a deposit on a house. Now that 30 grand's gone. It took me 15 years of my career to save that, and that was for my future. And because I've always been self-employed, I don't have a pension. So that's my future gone. Yeah. You know, the result of what this government have done by casting this amount of people aside is irreparable in some cases. Just some of the case studies, it's just heartbreaking, really heartbreaking.
I think the clarity as well, Anneka, you know, you mentioned universal credit, but then I've heard some people say, well, if they take the furlough and that money comes in, that's going to affect my universal credit because I'm getting more money, so then my universal credit will be lower. So actually, I'm not any better off.
No.
And there's numerous cases, like you say, that it's not a one size fits all.
No.
sorry, you jump in case studies, if you do have a couple, because I think it would help people who don't understand or aren't aware of what you're doing to actually have that little bit of clarity. So go on, if you could share some stories.
Yeah, I mean, some of the case studies they're just heartbreaking. I mean, we've got Cheryl. I love Cheryl. She's an army veteran. Mm-hmm. She served our country for 22 years. She had an army pension. Her army pension was 53% of her total income on a monthly basis. She started a business to contribute to boost her pension.
Yeah.
She's excluded. She's not been able to do, to receive any support. There's people who have taken pension payments within the last 3 or 4 years and put that back into their business to invest and to grow it, or to take on an employee, and they've now got nothing. It's just horrendous, the breadth of people that this is affecting. Hairdressers, good, hard-working, independent driving instructors, artists, theatre technicians, musicians, consultants, accountants, hypnotherapists, you name it. These are hardworking, self-sufficient, driven, intelligent, entrepreneurial, passionate people who've just had the rug pulled out from under them through no fault of their own. Everyone's paid into this system, and these people have been discriminated against.
And we're going to end up paying into it for a long time coming, Anneka. Right. And they've took nothing out of it.
And on top of that, though, Ian, I mentioned mental health earlier. Some of the stories that I have and some of the other guys receive on a daily basis, and this is getting worse. I'm not trained to deal with that kind of heartache. I think I've probably talked 7 or 8 people back from the ledge within the last 10 days alone. Because any hour of the day, we're receiving reports of these people who just have given up. They don't know where to turn. They're walking into next year with debt they never considered needing. A business that has been completely taken to its knees. A family who, houses have been lost. Cars have been sold. People are feeding their families from food banks. These kind of people that work this hard aren't used to asking for help. And all of a sudden, they find themselves in a situation where there is no one to help them, which is why we're so dedicated to providing as much support as we can, fundraising, just working with as many organisations as possible who will be able to help us help our community get through this, so that we can rebuild their confidence and rebuild their businesses and make the most of the skills and experience that they've got to get them through and help them to recover somehow. And we've just launched our fully funded one-to-one counselling sessions based on the fact that
well done.
Any of these people go to their GP, they're going to have to wait 16 weeks to get help.
Yep, too late.
It doesn't even bear thinking about. It really does.
Yeah, and they can't afford to go private, and it's. No. I'm really mindful you've got to pick William up. So listen, thanks so much for your time. I could listen all day, and I haven't said much because I've just wanted you to talk, because you're the voice for this, and I'm really thankful for what you do, and you and your team. So listen, where can we find you? Where can we find out more? What can we do?
Please go to the website www.ExcludedUK.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on LinkedIn, we're on Instagram. You'll find us if you look. And if you see a story that where someone is affected by this, and I can guarantee to every single person watching now, someone will know someone who has been affected by this. 1 in 10, 3 million people in the UK are suffering right now as a result of being denied access to these support schemes. And even if it's just moral support, even if it was just a share on Facebook to get this awareness up, please support us and yeah, just please be mindful.
Brilliant. Well, listen, thanks so much for your help, Anneka. I'll be watching with interest, and I'm going to make a podcast episode out of this as well. And we're going to push this out from an audio point of view as well, and we'll do whatever we can to keep banging the drum. Okay, so you go and get William. Thanks so much for your time, Anneka, and let's keep in touch. Yeah.
Thanks, Ian.
Thank you.
Bye.
Wow, try to stay cool there. Thanks so much, Anneka. Really, really interesting topic. I don't even know what to say. A lot of us have been affected. A lot of our friends and family have been affected by this. Something needs to change. This can't keep going on. Something does need to change, and I need to calm down.